everybody. You're listening to Professor K.
And Professor J.
And Sefa.
And we are the other teachers. Good evening, everyone. We've got, Sefa, you spoiled the surprise.
Sorry.
Every time you say surprise.
Excited.
It's supposed to be a surprise when we have guests on here, isn't it?
Is it?
Surprise.
We have a doctor in the building, a dentist by profession. I want to say good dentist, but I don't know how good you are.
My patients would say I'm good.
Okay.
They like me.
All right. So she's a good dentist. And she's going to be giving us some love tips, basically. Don't ask why.
It's like saying I'm a dentist, but I'll talk about something else.
That's just how we do it here.
Dentist
So
by day.
so yes, so the first lesson we have today is going to be about love, specifically the languages of love, and I believe there's 5 languages of love.
Yeah, there's a guy called Gary Chapman. He wrote this book called The 5 Love Languages, and in it he says that all of us have a primary love language. There are 5. So yeah, according to Mr. Chapman, they are words of affirmation, acts of service, receiving gifts, quality time, and physical touch. And what he says is basically one or mainly 2 of these 5 love languages really press our buttons. They fill up our love tank. And he advocates that we learn what our love languages are, and those are the important people around us. I guess it's a great way of making people happy. If you speak their love language, you fill up their love tank. Surely that's good for everybody.
Wait a minute. What is a love language?
Well,
What's the definition?
Okay, yeah, that's
Okay.
a good
Start off
place
Good
to
question.
start.
So a love language is a way that you communicate love. So you know how people have mother tongues, so people who speak multiple languages. A love language is just a way that a person primarily receives love and understands love. And it's lots of different things for lots of different people, but the love languages are broadly 5 areas, which you can split these languages up into. And for each of us, one of them, or perhaps 2 of them, make us feel more loved than the other, essentially.
So everyone basically speaks any of these, maybe all of these languages, but then they have like the 2 main ones that they speak.
One's like the gold star, like your favorite language.
Yeah, I thought this was really interesting, just because generally the language that people speak to other people, and when I say speak, I don't mean it literally, because we don't really speak these languages, right? The language we speak to people is the language we think they speak to us. So if for instance my top language of love is quality time, I would be spending quality time with my partner because I think that her primary language is quality time, but I'd be only assuming that.
Which can create a massive problem, because if her primary language is acts of service and you're spending all this time with her, but what she really wants you to do is help her with her shopping and do the dishes, she's not going to feel she will feel loved because you're spending time with her, but she won't feel as loved as if you were speaking her primary love language. Right.
So let's take us through each of these, just so everyone knows what exactly they are. So obviously we have quality time. That's pretty straightforward.
I wouldn't.
What is quality time?
Quality time is more than just spending time. It's about protecting time, not having distractions, having phones off, and actually giving somebody your because I think a lot of us, especially in this day and age, we say we spend quality time with people, but what we mean is we go to a cafe and we sit with our phones and we go yeah and we scroll through.
That's right, because I remember in the past spending quality time, we're sitting watching a movie, I'm on my phone, she's on her phone, and that's supposed to be quality time.
Exactly.
But it's not.
So that quality time is being in a moment and being in an activity together. It's not necessarily lots of time, but the quality of that's what it says on the tin, I guess, the quality of the time that you spend together. And I think with our generation, we're also very easily distracted by our technology and all the other stuff that's going on. I think we've diluted quality time into just being in the physical surrounding of somebody else, but it's a lot more than that. Someone can come and say, so for me, quality time is a massive thing. And someone can come and sit in my house for hours and hours, but if they're not emotionally available, to me, that's not quality time. They're just heating up my couch.
Yeah, okay. All right. No, that's true. I can see that. And so what are the other ones? So we have acts of service.
Yeah.
Which I believe is doing things for people, just sort of being at service to someone.
Yeah.
All right.
Taking those things off their plate that they find quite difficult, or essentially making other people's lives easier.
Yeah, okay. All right. So like helping someone with chores or like doing them a favor or something.
Or looking something up on the internet. It could be anything.
It could be anything. Okay, yeah. Okay. I just had a really interesting example of that. But okay, so acts of service. And then what was the other ones?
Receiving gifts, which is an interesting one, really, because when I was looking at studying this, you think that people who like gifts just like gifts. A gift's a gift.
Yeah.
But actually, for people whose love language is gifts, it's to do again with the quality of the gift, how thoughtful it was, whether that person went and sought out something that was really specific and particular.
Could it also be about the quality of the gift? So you say, obviously the thought behind it, but then what about the the expense behind it? What about the cost?
I would say the thought's more valuable than the expense.
Yeah,
you can buy something cheap, and as long as it's valuable and as long as it means something to that person, then I think that holds greater value than something that's a lot more expensive that is.
Oh, I know some people who could disagree with that, but I mean, I think you're right. I think you are right, Jenny.
Like, think about all the gifts that you've ever received, or take the last 5 years. Think about every gift you received in the last 5 years.
That's a lot of gifts.
Yeah, but which gifts stick out to you? Are they the ones that were really expensive, or the ones that were really thoughtful?
Actually,
the ones that stick out for me is like, I'm a PT in my personal life, so someone bought me a pair of weights. Weights aren't expensive, and then going back further, someone bought me a watch, which was very expensive.
Was it the same person?
No. No, going back that far, it's not the same person. But yeah, the weights meant a lot more than the watch, and I still have the weights now.
But the watch was more expensive, basically.
Yeah, far more expensive.
Yeah. Right. Someone bought me a bear they left the price tag on it by accident. It was like a £5. It wasn't much. But what that represented is, like, it means I can't name all the gifts that I got given in the last 2 years. But when I think about gifts that stand out, that's definitely one of them, and it wasn't.
Right. Okay. So gift giving, and the fourth one was
words of affirmation, which we've chatted about.
Yes, I think we have
quite a length.
Yeah, words of affirmation. I think when I did when I figured it out, I think it was my third thing. I can't remember, but
you were just a bit greedy. You wanted a bit of everything.
I wanted a bit of everything.
So break this one down.
So words of affirmation are about being an encourager, and I think it can be quite annoying for people who don't like encouragement, but people coming alongside people and being like, you know what, you look beautiful, or you did this and that was wonderful, and being. Instead of just being generally nice about somebody, about picking specific things that affirm who they are, what they believe in, what they're doing, where they're going, like coming alongside somebody as an encourager.
This was in that book, How to Make Friends and Alienate People. You've read that, right?
Yeah, I've read that.
Where he says that people should make sincere comments that actually mean something, rather than just a general compliment.
Yeah.
Just to say, "Oh, you look nice today," rather than say something specific, and it means a lot more.
It's like the difference between saying that's a really pretty dress and you look fantastic in that, it really suits your figure.
Yeah.
Like, that's a pretty dress. You could take it or leave it.
True story. Okay. And the last one? The
last one is physical touch, which means a whole load of different things.
Oh, you know. Physical touch. So is that necessarily, because in my mind, right.
You're thinking sex.
In your mind.
In my mind, it would be, obviously that. But is there a different type of physical touch which some people would actually have as their primary love language?
Yeah. So I know that there are people who are more physical than others. So you'll probably have that huggy friend, the friend who likes hugs, or people who walk past you in a room and they'll put their hand on their shoulder, or reassurance. When I'm working in hospital, when people are in times of distress, there are times where coming alongside somebody and an appropriate physical touch for that experience can help that patient in that situation where you are. I think with physical touch, it's important to remember our love languages aren't just for our romantic partners. They're for our friends and our family members and kids if we have them. And if you think about a child, physical touch is so important for a child, a friend in distress. And obviously there is an additional caveat with that when you're in a romantic relationship with somebody.
Yeah.
But it's there for everybody, and there'll be definitely times where you think it's okay to hug your friends or touch their arm or whatever.
Yeah, I think that's I think that's very important. I think to know like the love language of saying your parents or your siblings, because then you can actually build relationships with them a lot better and understand how they understand love, or how they love, how they communicate love, really.
I did something quite funny. Well, to me, it's quite funny. A few months ago, so I went back and read a bit of this book, The Five Love Languages, and it talked about when you have family members who you don't necessarily really receive love from the way that you want to, and trying to figure out their love languages. And so I sat there and I thought about my family, and there was an example in the book of a guy who said his family weren't very affirming in the way they spoke. And so this guy gave a suggestion. He said, every single time you see your parents, call them. When you're leaving, give them a hug, tell them I love you, and see what happens. And so this guy does it the first time. His parents were like, oh, that's awkward. What are you doing? Right. But over a period of weeks and months, his parents actually started, it's almost like he turned on that part of their mind. And so I thought, okay, I'm going to try this with my parents, which was hilarious. Right. Because the first time my mum just went and just hung up.
Because it's weird. It's weird for different, like, depending on your culture.
Depending on your relationship with your parents as well.
And your culture. Like, for instance, Africans and Asians, I don't think they have that whole I love you thing going on with their parents. No. It's not. It doesn't mean they don't love each other. It's just not a.
They don't say it.
It's just not a thing. I guess the language of love for them is not the primary one. Isn't? It's not
for the whole continent.
Not words
of
affirmation. Yeah, exactly.
But then I've managed to kind of eke it out of them. So like now when my dad leaves me voice messages, it's like, "Hey baby, hope you're doing all right. Love you," and I'm like, "Oh." And the first time they started saying it back, I was like, it felt
actually
weird.
Worked. Right.
And it's to a certain extent. I mean, it's not perfect, but it's definitely. I definitely feel more loved by them.
That's an interesting experiment.
That's very interesting.
Because they said that you can like pick a love language and test out somebody. So say if you wanted to find out Kara's love language, you could try one for a week and try another for a week and another for a week.
Yeah, if you try anything on me, make sure it's not physical. I'll punch you.
But at some point you'll do something and you'll be like, oh, like okay, you'll be like that worked, but that really, really worked. And it's a great way to kind of experiment and find out.
It's a good one. It's a really good one. So wait, how do you find out what your language of love is? How do people out there find out?
There are a couple of ways. So you can go on the Five Love Languages website and do a quiz, which is what I did. Just I could ask you a couple of questions, and it's kind of like one of those I would rather do this than this, and you just answer a couple of questions, and it tells you based upon your answers what you do. But the other thing is that you're most likely to speak the love language that you receive best. So when I see my friends, I want to have them over in my house for food. It's quality time. No phones, no TVs. Let's sit at a table and talk. And the reason why I do that is because that fills up my love tank, and I think automatically that it will, like you were saying, that it will do the same for them.
So everyone communicates their primary language, thinking that or assuming that other people, would communicate that language as well, right? I see. Wait, let's go back to physical touch real quick. Just generally because, so physical touch. When you talk about physical touch, can touching in that way also count as physical touch?
Yeah.
Okay, all right, that's good.
Is that okay with you?
I don't know. I'm just wondering whether that's my primary love language.
I guess the question is whether it's appropriate for that person and that situation. Because with physical touch, no matter what it is,
your mind at the gutter. Carry on.
With physical touch, even with touching somebody on the arm, there's going to be a time where that isn't appropriate, and actually you're violating that person's boundaries.
Damn.
Yeah. Okay. Because like if you're really, really ticked off and you're really mad and someone comes over and touches you on the arm, if you're anything like me, my reaction is I want to hit them in the face.
All right. Okay. All right. Cool. Love. So wait, how important is love in your job? Is that something that you actually think of? Is that something you actually use? Do you use any of these languages, or do you use any of this in your job?
Kind of. So I guess you've got patients who fall broadly into three categories. The ones who are an absolute dream to treat, the ones who are an absolute nightmare to treat, and this area in between. The patients who are a dream to treat are great. They don't need much love or support. They just make your life really easy. They come in, they tell you what they need. There's no emotional baggage that comes with them.
Yeah.
Patients that are in the middle or difficult to treat tend to have a lot of things that go on outside of that appointment you have with them, and actually being able to sit down and chat to them, and sometimes they come up with all sorts of, well, to me, weird and odd reasons why they do things or don't do things, and being able to kind of try and unpack a little bit of that in the surgery. Like, I feel this. It's like, okay, well, why do you feel that? And if you can figure out what that person's love language is, or what it is that they feel that they're not getting, giving them a little bit of that moves them from a difficult patient to a dream patient, because they think you're amazing.
Right. So wait, so your love languages, I think you said this before, and I wanted to just reiterate that, is that your primary love language is something that you either didn't get as a child, or
you got a lot of.
So if you had a lot of quality time with your parents or whatever as you were growing up, that would be your primary. It's what you picked up, I guess. So it's either what you didn't get any of, or what you got too much of.
Yeah, I guess it's one or the other.
That's crazy.
And again, looking at work, when you see a lot of the patients who have lots of medical issues also have lots of social issues. And one of the things that they don't get is time. They don't get people giving them quality time. They don't get people paying attention to them particularly much. If you give that patient 5 minutes of your time, you have just topped their love tank up to the max. They leave as the happiest person in the world. But it's because in their life, it's that thing that they don't feel that they're getting.
I see.
So can you use these love languages with people who you don't get on with, or difficult people, to switch?
To manipulate them.
I wasn't going to say those words. I was trying to think of words around that, but essentially, yes.
Well, what do you think? If somebody...
In business, like if you're getting on with someone and there's nothing there, can you figure out what their love language is quickly and use that to worm them with you to start a business deal?
I wouldn't call it manipulation. I'd call it it's mutually beneficial.
Yeah.
Because, like, if you've got a business partner or a client, if your business partner or your client is happy, that's going to make your life easier. So if you know a way to make them happy, why not?
Yeah, true story. I think this is the key to like success when it comes to like maybe business, yeah, sure, but also seriously like relationships. Like if you know your partner's love language and you communicate to them in their primary and secondary love languages, and they do the same, so vice versa, then you pretty much solved the whole communication issue, right? Because a lot of the time people you just don't know what your partner likes, and you think that they like what you like, and you just communicate in that way, and you have thousands and thousands of like breakups and issues resulting from people not knowing what their partner's love language is, which is ridiculous. This is the key. I think this is one of the keys, if anything, right?
But then if you think about it, I'll draw on my own experience. If you go up to somebody and say, okay, you know what, I feel I need this.
Yeah.
You have to have a receptive person on the other side. Because if I come up to you, Cara, and say, I need more of your... yeah, that's one way of looking at it. If I say, I need more of your time and your undivided attention, and your response is like, why do you need that? I do this, I do that, I do that, I do that.
Yeah. That
person then shuts down, communication closed, and their love tank is just depleting as you speak.
You've just summed up the last 10 of my relationships. That's how the conversation went to the T.
I think this is the
I've been there too.
I think this is the reason why many relationships don't work. It's just like people not trying to figure out what their partner's love language is and communicating in their love language. You know, that's. And
people have said it before. Like when you think about a new relationship, you think that the two of you are like bulletproof. Everything's gonna work, and everything's gonna tick together happily. But if you think about the amount of effort we put in, mainly because we're so excited about this new person, completely by accident, you probably speak all 5 of these love languages.
Yeah.
Because your heart's desire is to be and do everything for this person. But as that wears off, I think we need to learn how to be more intentional about those things, because you're not always going to be in that happy, giddy love phase where you do want to do everything for that person. And I think at that point, once that kind of honeymoon season is worn off, that's when it's really important to have been paying attention in that first season, to pick up on the things that you did that really, really made that person feel really special. But it's a lot of concentration, I guess.
Yeah. No, I just see what you mean. I have a question that's come in. I don't know if we should really answer this live.
Let's do it.
I just read it right now, and I think I realize maybe what the answer might be. But I want to get Dr. Ahiaku's answer. So this is coming from a girl, right? Okay. So she's asking, how is it that a guy will take time out of his day to talk to a girl he met once, who lives 3,000 miles away? Yet a guy who has spent quality time with a girl who only lives 300 miles away, and insists that she will come and visit, and that he misses her, won't take 30 seconds out of his day to communicate. Why is that? Did you get that?
Yeah. That's a tough one. I think if I had the complete answers to that, I'd have saved myself a lot of heartache too. But it's a good question, and I think it comes back down to our attitudes again, whether we are intentional about how we handle somebody else. Mm-hmm. I think it's like this idea that everything is just all gonna fit together. I like you, you like me. Let's just kind of trundle down the road and see what happens. But I think we need to build intentionality into our relationships. If the person you're with needs quality time, and they're expressing that, and you don't give it to them. Mm-hmm. I've got friends who really don't like quality time, and they really don't like physical touch, and they really don't like words of affirmation. What they want is for you to do the dishes. Yeah. And you can cook them a meal and sit with them and give them hugs all day until you're blue in the face. And they're like, yeah, sure, whatever.
It's just not their cup of tea.
But if you say, is there anything I can help with? They go, oh yeah, actually. And it's like, do you mind taking this box down the road? Okay. And it makes them so happy. And I for me, service isn't the thing. So I don't get it, but it makes them really happy. And I think it's a case of the person you're with being willing to know you, and equally for you to be willing to know them. I think if one person's trying really hard to meet the needs of the other person, and the other person isn't doing the same, then that relationship quickly becomes toxic or even abusive in some ways, because you've got someone who's taking a lot and not giving much back. I don't really know if that's an answer or an explanation, but
no, I think that's
a bit of both.
Yeah, I think that's quite
for me. I'm thinking of it as in the distance thing. Mm-hmm. Like, as soon as something's far from your reach, you want it more. Whether something's closer to you, you're not as inclined to go out and grab it. For instance, I think if that person maybe moved closer, they would get that same attitude, because it's so easy to see that person whether it's such an effort and it's something so far away.
Can I ask, is this my question, is this a boy-specific thing? Because guys seem to have this desire of having things that, like you say, are out of reach. And the moment they get within reach, and this is, I know it's a huge sweeping generalization, it's like, oh, it's not as exciting as it was anymore.
For me, yeah. I mean, I look at things, my goals that I want, and then when I achieve them, I want something that's even further away. But I think that helps to drive you. I think that drives in terms of
But then what do you do with that in relationships when you've got a partner?
You get a new partner.
You're gonna spend your whole new life upgrading a girl. It's not okay.
Can't upgrade indefinitely.
Get the relationship police on you.
But I think that's the thing. I think that's sort of just how. And so, wait, but how do women see? How do women deal with that then? I mean, how do...
It's frustrating. We sit in our houses and we ask our friends what the hell is going on.
Sure.
It's tough though, because I guess you get to like our age and you think, okay, you know what, I don't want to just be dating people for the sake of dating people. I want to start building a life and building a family. And to then meet somebody you think you can do that with, and that person then is like, this is actually really easy now. I've kind of got you. It's not really that exciting. I guess for us, it looks like you stopped trying. Mm-hmm. And that can be quite painful.
No, I see what you mean. So wait, so how do you deal with, then, just finishing up on this question, how do you deal with guys who don't seem that interested, or when guys can't communicate enough, basically? I mean, how do you think people should deal with that?
I'll tell you what I did last time. I spent bye-bye. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's one way of doing it. I think you've got to be mature about it and say, if you think somebody is worth it, you need to have that conversation and say, look, I have these needs, I have these hopes, I have these expectations. This is where I want to go with my life. Yeah. And if that's not where you want to go, let me know. And I will find somebody who wants to do the same thing. But that's very difficult, especially if you've been with somebody and care about them a lot, because that's putting yourself out on the precipice, because they could turn around and say anything. Yeah. But I guess you have to be at peace that you are worth more than sitting around on somebody else's dreams, especially if they're not fundamentally meeting your needs.
So you advise girls to basically just call the guys out up front.
Yeah,
and just tell them what the
absolutely.
deal is. Yeah. Okay. All right. No, I think that's quite.
What do you think from a guy's perspective?
From guys, what when a guy is not that interested, or when a guy's not communicating,
or a girl is not that
interested.
interested.
Turned up to you and said, okay, you know what? I'm not happy with this, and this. This is what I want. This is what I need. How do you think you would react?
I'd be like, God damn.
No, what about on the flip side though? If you're a guy and a girl is not giving you that same thing,
the same type of
so on the flip side,
put us in the same situation, right? When a girl's not giving us generally for me, when a girl's not giving me the attention or communicating to the level that I expect, I mean, I tend to do pretty much the same thing. I think that it's very necessary to be assertive whenever whenever you feel like communication isn't meeting your expectations. I think that you just have to just say, okay, listen, is like, what is the situation? Like, what's really happening? Are we doing something? Is something? Are we actually going somewhere with this, or is it something that is it like that you're actually really too busy? Because I feel like no one is so busy that they can't like spend like 2 seconds or 3 seconds to send a text message. Like this is just the way I feel. I feel like there's no level of busyness that anyone can attain that they can't like communicate with someone they actually like.
God damn, you just discussed another one of scenarios that I've had in the past.
So if you've ever used that excuse, it's just an excuse because you don't say that to people you like. You make time. Yeah, you just make.
There's
time.
Always time.
I've been at a course today and they were talking about disappointment. It's quite interesting. You said about people not meeting your expectations.
Yeah.
They were talking about patience, but I guess it's actually quite relevant for this. So if you imagine 3 lines on a page, and the top line says expectations, and the top line says your experience, the middle line says expectation, and the bottom line says experience.
Yeah.
So when your experience is below your expectations, that's when people are disappointed. When your experience meets your expectations, people are satisfied. But when your experience supersedes your expectations, that's when people are that's that wow factor.
That's what it is.
That's that magic where you're like, I was expecting this, but I got this, like, wow.
Yeah.
But I guess if you don't communicate what your expectations are, and things keep falling short of your expectations, I think it's very different when you say, okay, these are my expectations, and then someone continues to fail to meet them.
Exactly.
That's very different to not having said, these are my expectations. And
that's brilliant. That's brilliant, because that would explain why girls date the same type of guy, right? And they build up experience for this type of guy. So when they meet someone who's even slightly worse, whatever, that person falls short of their expectations. Falls short of the experience, and then the expectations are set at this like super low level. But when they meet someone who's seemingly a bit better, they're like, oh wow, this guy is like amazing. This guy is amazing, right?
I've been there.
But maybe he's not even really that amazing.
Just better than last time.
Exactly.
But I think if you're gonna upgrade your partner, it has to be like, that's what people always say. What do you go for? And I go, what it wasn't last time. Like, it's got to be better than what it was last time, at least in one area, in one aspect.
I think that would resolve some of my relationship issues as well.
Just like group therapy.
Keeping the standards really. No, but that's actually quite eye-opening, I think, and would explain the reason why. Yeah, definitely, a lot of people are stuck in a cycle, sort of. I think. All right, so we've touched on 5 languages of love, which is really good. What's the website that people can do the quiz?
It's by Gary Chapman, and it's 5lovelanguages.com.
Alrighty.
And it's a great book. You can get it on Amazon. They've got ones for singles, couples, families, parents, and they've all got like a slightly different slant on the practical things of how it looks in your life. So.
Right. Okay. All right. So before we sign off, I think we should do a bit of health and fitness. So you're a dentist.
Yeah, I do teeth.
Fantastic.
So I gotta ask, being a dentist, do you look at everyone and judge them by their teeth?
Yeah. Well, I guess I wouldn't judge them, but
do you go, oh, I could fix that. I could fix that. I could fix that.
So sometimes if I'm walking down the street, I'm not paying that much attention. But if I meet somebody new, it's the first thing that I tend to look at.
Really?
Yeah, because that's my job. When I meet new people every day, and when they come in, the first thing I do is I look at their teeth, because that's my job. And so there are sometimes and some things where I meet people, and I think that's really easy to fix. Why wouldn't you have that fixed? But actually, it's not about me and what I think would look brilliant. But it definitely does have this filter. I remember sat on the couch with my brother one day, and somebody came. It was one of these reality TV shows, and somebody came on the screen. I was like, they've got a really class 3 jaw. And my brother's like, what's a class 3 jaw? And he went, you don't have to stop being a dentist. Stop being a dentist.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of feel that. I mean, I don't date girls that have, bad teeth. I can't do it. That's like one of my things. Like, you have to have good teeth.
The worst thing is it's not the teeth, though, because it's the smells. So when someone walks into a room, I can tell whether they've got gum disease or tooth decay because I can smell it. And so
you can smell gum disease?
Yes, you can. So if I know it's got a really distinctive smell. Ask your dentist next time. Like when people come in my room and you sit them back, it's the smell that hits you first. And I can turn around to my nurse and just say, put this and this on like the plan of action without even looking. So if a guy comes up to me in a bar or something, and I smell that smell, I'm just like, nah. That's not happening.
You just wave them on the spot. Here's some Colgate.
People are killing their game before they even get like a few words out,
it's
and
like
not even know.
Lady Nisha says, brush your teeth.
Jeez. So can we get like free dental?
Yo, I need some dental.
Yeah, can we get some free?
Throw the questions.
Hook us up with the free dental. No, but so what? The question I wanted to, well, not really a question. I wanted to know whether you could give our listeners a bit of just general advice. I don't know if there is sort of like a one size fits all thing you can.
Yeah. So how do you keep your teeth white?
How do you keep your teeth white?
Is white even the most important thing?
No, white. So a lot of dentists have this issue with these 5-minute makeovers or whatever, or these 60-minute smiles, where you take somebody who has really bad teeth and you make everything seemingly really straight and really white. What those patients go through to get that is quite horrendous, especially in such a short period of time. And sometimes to get that kind of that end point, it should take you months or years. But it's created this expectation in the general population that everybody should have brilliantly white, straight teeth. Teeth are not naturally white. They're off-white, they're cream, they're yellow, because from the middle of your tooth, you get the colour of it. The colour of your teeth is from the middle. And that middle of your tooth, the colour of that is yellow. So unless you've got enamel that's really, really thick, so that's why in kids they say kids have got milk teeth. Kids' teeth look really white compared to adults' teeth, but white teeth do not necessarily mean healthy teeth.
I'm sure kids' teeth don't look like white compared to adult teeth because all the years of drinking, smoking, drugs,
that too,
drinks,
just doing all kinds of things. All right, fair enough. So your teeth aren't supposed to be white, like you're not.
Simon Cowell is not a natural color.
Right. Okay. Got you. All right. So, what are some of the things that we need to do to keep our teeth healthy, like in our teen to like sort of early adult years?
I always say to people, dental health is really, really simple. You need a toothbrush, some toothpaste, and some floss or TP brushes. That's it. Everything else is, to a certain extent, a gimmick. If all you're looking at is health, all you need is a fluoride toothpaste and a good toothbrush. And it doesn't even have to be electric.
Can it be
mouthwash?
Maybe Pepsodent?
Mouthwash? There's a place for mouthwash. There's definitely a place for it, but it's when I'm looking at my patient's oral health and I'm looking at improving what's going on, mouthwash isn't the top of my list. I want you brushing regularly and brushing well.
You just saved me thousands on mouthwash over
and
the years.
Because the other thing that they don't say is for a lot of mouthwashes, on the adverts, I have a real bugbear about adverts, is that they brush their teeth and then they rinse their mouth out with this mouthwash. And it drives me crackers because in your toothpaste, you've got fluoride.
Yes.
Fluoride is what matters about keeping teeth healthy. It makes your teeth stronger, more resistant to decay. Mm-hmm. But if you then, after you've brushed your teeth, rinse your mouth out with water or mouthwash, all you're doing is spitting all that good toothpaste into the sink. It completely, you might as well have brushed your teeth with coal if you're going to rinse your mouth out with mouthwash straight away.
So, should we swallow it?
What, the mouthwash?
Yeah.
No, it's not mouthwash. But I'm saying if you want to use mouthwash, you need to use it at a different time of day. So say you should brush your teeth in the morning and at night.
So you should do it twice a day. Oh, that's so long.
A minimum of twice a day for 2 minutes. Oral B. I love Oral B. Are
they paying you for this?
No, they're not.
Some free ads
marketing on
They're
here.
not. They're not paying me for this, but maybe they should.
This show is not brought to you by Oral B.
I love Oral B, but they've got some brilliant apps that you can get on your iPad or your phone and things. And if you decide to get one of their power brushes,
use Pepsodent.
No. If you use Oral B brush, you can get what's called a smart timer, and it will time you as you brush your teeth. It will tell you which areas you need to be brushing better, whether you're pushing too hard. And I just think it's a brilliant resource, and I use it myself. I found it really helpful because if you lock somebody in a room with a sink and give them a toothbrush, we all know we're meant to brush for 2 minutes. But on average, if you don't have a clock or a timer, most people brush for an average of about 28 to 35 seconds. Most people don't even make a minute. And that's even with dental professionals. What
I do is I play music, and then until the song finishes, I'm done brushing.
See, that's what I did. That's my parents did when I was a kid.
No, it's like 3 or 4.
No, but that's brilliant because that's a way of quantifying how long you're actually in.
Okay.
There are a couple of things, well, for less so for you guys, but for girls, which work. If you want your teeth to look whiter, wear really dark lipstick.
Okay.
Or really red lipstick, because
contrast.
A lot of my patients say to me, your teeth are really white. And one of the nurses I used to work with and I did it, we have like shade guides where you can characterize teeth on a spectrum of shades from bright white all the way down to like a darker yellow. And my teeth are not bright white. I just have dark skin. And the contrast is quite dramatic.
So get a tan.
Yeah, get a tan and get some bright red lipstick.
Don't get no fake tan though. Come on,
orange. Orange and white.
No, totally. And what about those little things with the flossettes? Flossettes. Yeah, you told me about flossettes.
Yeah. So when you think about brushing your teeth, there are the surfaces where your teeth touch. You can't get your toothbrush in there. Some people think that you can. They're deluded. You can't.
Yeah.
So flossettes it's basically floss on almost like a harpoon, and it's just a lot easier to get it in between your teeth. I find that when I use floss on a big string, I tend to cut the circulation off to my fingers, which is probably not good for them. Whereas with a flosset, I don't have that problem.
Yeah, I got myself some flossettes. I'll be flossing.
Good.
I feel like brushing my teeth now.
Yeah.
You should. Everybody should brush their teeth twice a day at least.
All right, cool. All right, so I think that sums it up for today. Do we have anything else that we wanted to?
No, I think that's us. We got some good information on there.
I learned really a lot. Thank you, Dr. Ahiaku, for coming on.
I think I talked a lot.
No, that's good. That's perfect.
That's talked out.
That's what we need. That's what we need for the people out there. Do you want to give everyone, your social media or any websites you want people to visit or check out?
My social media. That's a good question. You can follow me at Noteli, spelled NOTELLI.
Okay.
And my website is going to be going live at some point soon. So it's drsahiaku.com.
Can you
when
spell
it goes
that?
live. Yeah. Ahiaku, AHIAKU. And I'm going to be there's going to be an education center on there. So I'm going to be putting out advice for people who want to ask questions about dental health. I think there's a lot of stuff on the internet. If you're going to get information about health, why not get it from a reputable source? So when the website goes up, if you want to ask anything, fire away and I will write an article or find a friend.
Fantastic. That's great. I'll be visiting that website pretty soon. As always, our social media is @otherteachers on Twitter, and theotherteachers@gmail.com. All right, so that's pretty much everything for today. And as always, remember that experience is the best teacher.
So learn from yesterday,
live for today,
and hope for tomorrow.
It's the Other Teachers. Thanks for listening.
Class dismissed.
Peace.